Ooh, right, I've just had my lunch. First time I've actually made something on the hob, gas hob in the camper van actually, other than boiling water. So I've just had some soup with some potatoes in it, and it's great, it's lovely, really warm and just what I needed. It's still 6 degrees here, but at least it's only the wind's dropped a little bit, and the sun has come out, so at least it's bearable. It's not snowing anyway. So what I thought we would do next is, because probably not looking like a sail, is we're probably gonna have a look at reefing the jib. Now we've got two options when it comes to the jib. We could either reef the jib, and we'll work that out, see if that can work. I think you could maybe put one reef in it, or this spare jib I've got, I could just recut it and sew it and make like a storm jib. So the benefit of having the storm jib would be you can just put it on, you've got one jib, you've not got to worry about any other bits and pieces, you know, where things go. You just, you know, you attach it to the boat and that's that. The negatives of the storm jib are that once it's on, you probably can't change the size, or I think it'd be quite difficult putting a different jib on. I also don't really want to carry two sails because space is at a premium on this boat. I literally don't think I can lean out and put another one of these on, put a downhaul on it. It's just too much like hard work. So if we reef the jib, the benefits of that are you only have to carry one sail. The second benefit is that you know, you should be able to change the size of your jib as you're sailing, which is good. So, you know, because if you encounter stormy weather and you want to have a smaller jib, then that's all very well, but what happens when there's no wind and you're stuck with a tiny little sail? You might not be able to get anywhere. So, you know, both are equally bad. The benefits, the negatives are there's going to be a whole lot of reefing having to be done to the sail as well, and I don't know how effective the sail would be. So let's look at, I think really I've talked myself into reefing this main. The other benefit of reefing the jib is that if I reef the jib and it doesn't work, I can always cut it into a storm jib anyway. So let's have a look at how we're going to do this. Right, so hopefully you can see everything from there. So obviously the jib, the only real way you can reef the jib, in my opinion, is from the bottom, much like the mainsail. So the first thing you need to do is to be able to control this part of the jib. So let's say, for instance, we brought the jib down to this level. So ideally we would have this sort of length of jib. We need an eyelet in here with a new piece of string on it that we can connect to the jib down here to keep this nice and taut. So once we've done that, let me just try and pull this jib up like that. So you'd have it like that and pull the jib out. Once you've got that, you then need to do the same here. So where the jib sheets currently are would need to be, you know, here maybe to match that. And then you've got this much smaller jib. Now, depending on where you do it, you've got, you know, yeah, that's cut the jib down by about maybe 60%. And then you've got to put some little reefing points in so you can tidy the sail up like that and tie those off. And then that's probably, yeah, that probably would work quite well as a jib. So one problem is, well, you can't just untie these jib sheets and retie them. So the option is to have a second set of jib sheets, or to use a clip. So the jib sheets are clipped onto here and you can quickly clip them onto there. So we've got two options when it comes to clipping the jib sheets to the main, to the jib. The first one is this one, using a little clip like that. So the main sheet will tie onto that, and then this clip, hopefully, will just clip into that. And these are quite strong. Yeah, so they would work. Don't know if you can see that. Or, the benefit of those are it's really easy to use. Or the other option is to use, I've got actually these little cleats. Now the ones I use on the boat are quite small, are these ones already. I forget what these are called, but could use one of these. This looks very strong. They're strong enough to hold the kicker in place. And we could, wow. Okay, I can't undo that. Oh. So maybe this is answering it, but this would easily slot in here, and you slot the sheets in as well. These are a bit more fiddly, but you could leave one on the sail up there and one down here. I'm beginning to favour the clip method, to be frank. So the next problem we've got is when the jib is flying, this is connected around this little clevis pin here. So that gives you the tautness when you bring the jib up. Now if we were to reef the jib, say the reefing point was here or there, say, then we would need another eyelet in here, but we would also need a good way of clipping this somewhere. Now again, this is right at the bow of the boat, so I'm going to struggle to reach here to get a clip. So ideally I need something, you know, up here. So what we could do is have a eyelet in here. Oh, I don't know if you can see that, an eyelet there that would run down through a pulley and down the center of the boat, or it could go round the side just like this, and we could actually tie it off with a second cleat down there, and that would then hold that down. So we could try that. I'm going to try that and see if it works. So right, I'm actually going to put one of these horn cleats, I'm going to put it there. So it's right on the front there, so I've got 3. Now I've just drilled into here with a slightly smaller drill bit than the screw, and I only have this screwdriver unfortunately today, so it's hard work with this, but I think that'll go into the wood plug. I think the wood plug comes right up here, which is why these, I've just taken this screw out and it looks like it is going into the wood. So I'm going to drill that. I've drilled this hole, I'm going to screw this in now, and I'm going to drill the next hole in for that one when I've done it. Well, that's hard work. And this will be, I've got to go and change the drill bit. So that's that fixed there. Now I'm going to make a hole very carefully for the top screw to go in. You can actually see the wood coming out when you screw that in. And actually, I just checked, the screw also kind of makes a thread in the aluminium as well, which is all that these are. These are just self-tapping screws. They're not you know, the little bolts, the micro bolts. So yeah, I think this is going to be quite a firm, well, strong, I'm looking for the word, a good strong cleat, which is what we need for, go on, go in, that's it. Oh, it's hard work with this tiny little screwdriver. That should be a really good firm, that's really well fitted, and that'll be good for this. because then we've got 3 separate cleats for each of these little halyards, the jib, the gaff, and then this new mainsail halyard. Job done. So these 2 horn cleats, I think we'll fit these on the foredeck here. Let's just make some space, and they can go maybe like that, and then we can have a fair lead for the downhaul, jib downhaul, and the new fair lead for the jib clew, which will come straight down the centre here and onto these cleats. These cleats will also be probably quite useful for all kinds of stuff. I mean, the only thing is I can't screw these in, so I can feel underneath they'll just go straight through the ply. If you screw them in, then they're really not going to be any good for anything. They need to be bolted through. Now I do have some bolts there at home, but I also need to make some plates with maybe some zinc alloy to plate them both sides. So that's going to be a job for next time, but that I think will kind of, you know, if we move this fair lead from here and then the other one for the jib sheet here, then I think we're really getting the boat then ready for sort of cruising conditions, and in all winds and all weathers. We'll just need to test sail her then. So here's the jib. I've just been measuring again, trial and error, and actually if we put the reef in literally there, it's 10 centimetres under this seam, that's bang on 50%. I say bang on, roughly 50% jib. So if we were to sort of roll that up about there, that's the kind of jib you'd be getting. I think that's absolutely spot on. So that's what we'll do, and we have a new tack and clew here. In fact, there's a nice fold where I want it, and then maybe 1, 2 reef points, possibly 3 in there, and that'll be the jib reefed. So got to go home now, and can't do anything more here. Got to go home to get the eyelets put in, and also I've got to reinforce the sails. So that's all we can do here. So the question is, do we sail or do we not sail? I don't know. So it's 2:30. I nearly got a sail on a Drascombe lugger. There's a guy here also called Dave, and he came back. He was doing some work on his boat. I was doing the reefing, and we both decided it's just too cold. Ironically, the sun has now come out, but there are some really black grey clouds over there, so I think it's going to be short-lived. So I'm afraid it's a short one this week, and no sailing this week again. But next week I'm hoping that I might actually get a sail on the Drascombe lugger with Dave. Either that, or we'll be hopefully doing some reefing, experimenting with the newly reefed sails. So more news on that as well. A couple of the guys here have come down and given me some really good advice with that as well. So we might just tweak a few things, but yeah, we're really forging ahead on that. So thanks very much for watching. It's off home for me, and I'll see you in the next one.